Welcome in Line by Line. Today with Grizwald Grim from Grizwald Grim YouTube channel, we are analyzing a song, State of Love and Trust by Pearl Jam. Grim, what do you think of that song?
It's why? Because, well, when you're growing up, you don't know that, like, the government, intelligence agencies have bands to shape, like, the culture, like Bob Dylan, Jim Morrison. And I now think the whole Seattle scene was probably mostly government operatives. But when I was growing up at the time, I didn't know any better. It was just, hey, music, you know? And Pearl Jam was interesting in a lot of ways for that because like the breakout album 10, it's got Alive, and it's like, so like really depressed people had plenty to resonate to with the band. And then this song came from a movie soundtrack. But the thing I like a lot about Eddie Vedder is he's really hard to understand. Like, I went into work as a medical transcriptionist where, like, I'm listening to foreign language doctors trying to say words, and I have to figure out what the word they're saying is. And I can do that just fine. But this Eddie Vedder guy, half the time I have no idea. So it's like the lines that I could make out, I fit into my head, like the way I was singing it, and what is actually in the song might not be the same. But like there was like parts of the lines really, and so it was in this one. It's like you not only do you have to have a favorite band, you also have to have a favorite song. And when this one came out, it was that for me. And so like that's, I don't know, 30 years ago. And so it's like it's been with me my whole life. And so the meanings have changed over time, the way it hits, to what parts mean the most and stuff. But it's a big song for me because of the way it shaped me, or the way the band shaped me, my life.
It's a good choice for 88. I like that. Number is double infinity. Big on numbers. Somehow. Do you think when we don't understand the lyrics, let's say consciously, does our brain pick up on actual message if the message is different? Like one thing is that we are picking up the single words that trigger us, like in here, voice inside my head. It's like the moment I heard that, it was like it triggered something, made me like the song, but subconsciously our brain received the actual full lyrics and hidden meaning behind it.
Maybe, like, I mean, if you once you read what the words actually are, it sounds like the song might be about that poor lady they sacrificed to the devil so they'd be famous. But that's not what it was when I was listening to it my whole life. So, you know, what are you gonna do?
Oh my God.
I mean, it definitely sounds like a murder when I look at the words now. And I don't know.
Let's see. I read something completely different into it, but you know,
That
projections.
whoops.
And you
Oh,
are actually, I know you, and like people don't know it, but I see you. My projection is you have a very good fantasy, And you are a good writer. So I seen your scripts for LARP games. Excellent. So
I think.
okay, let's get into it.
Okay, so I'll do the first verse. Here are the official lyrics from wherever the hell you got them. It goes, state of love and trust as I busted down the pretext. Sin still plays and preaches, but to have an empty court. For me, the as I wasn't there, and it was pretest, not pretext, which is like for me now associated with my psilocybin trip, where like as far as I could tell, my vision was showing me stuff before it was ready to. Like my normal vision processing is like, okay, this is what it is, show him. And like when I was poisoned with those mushrooms, the like it would show me before it had decided what it was, and so it would change after it showed me. And so that to me that was like pre-test is of the vision. Like the test version is you couldn't tell, but it was before the test version. So, but the busting down to a non-complete condition was still resonant with me in that verse the whole time. And then the sin still plays and preaches, but to have an empty court line, it was core instead of court.
Mm-hmm.
But
is pretext is that explanation that we give ourselves into to motivate us to do something, like the
yes.
reason or something to do something is a pretext.
Yes.
So is it state of love and trust that is a pretext, or state of love and trust used as a pretext to do something? What comes first?
Oh, said this way, with state of love and trust as I busted down the pretext, is like I would think that they were in a state of love and trust and then started going after it, like busted down why, like how they got there. Maybe.
I'm trying to understand those lyrics. I did not have chance to project onto it in the past. I heard it for the first time when you brought it in. Interesting idea with the psilocybin trip, where I actually understand it's like you see it and then your brain contextualizes it. So first you see it with no naming what it is, just like experiencing the sight, and then your brain shapes it into a form and meaning. Let's say, like your brain creates it in your head, recreates it in your head.
The part of the experience that made me think that was what was going on was there's this cartoon show called Bob's Burgers. And I was my eyes were pointed at it, and like I saw the character Bob, but like he was like cycling through, I don't know, like he was Bob as Santa Claus, Bob as this other dude, it's like all these different costumes he could have been. It was just cycling really fast, and it wouldn't lock on to what I was actually seeing. So it was kind of interesting.
It's a good description. Now I'm trying to map it onto pretext. Not a pretext is a good word, but what about pretext? Pretext, reason. Trying to understand that word.
Sin still plays and preaches, but to have an empty court. See, for me, the sin still plays and preaches to have an empty core. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that's how you get the empty core is from the sin playing and preaching. But
Mm. Does this means is it like talking about the lyrics as it's written, lack of punishment, empty court? So you somebody who writes it motivated by sin that talks inside his head and looking for a pretext to do something, being that state of love and trust, but to have an empty court. It's lack of punishment. Maybe as it will get further in the song, what does it mean, the absence of punishment? Am I understanding it correctly? Like,
I think you're understanding it better than I did. But for me, it's a matter of emotional resonating. You know, it's not like the parts of the lyrics that lined up with the way I was feeling when I heard it. So
also the sound, the music is excellent, the guitar.
and the signs are passing. Grip the wheel, can't read it. Sacrifice receiving the smell that's on my hands. Yeah. This is where it sounds like a little murdery to me, where it didn't in my previous life.
Mm-hmm.
This,
Yeah. Grip the wheel. Wheel is the steering wheel, or
I
is it
hope so.
the
It always
drum
was in my head. The drum, which drum?
of the gun?
Oh,
I don't
a
know.
revolver. Obviously,
Okay. It's just like a um like the murder immediately went to a weapon. Yeah, so the signs are passing. Grip the wheel, can't read it. So I think he is trying to understand what is going on, which is again is similar to the to your first meaning, is that mushroom trip where he tries to contextualize things, explain them. So this is, it is emotion. You might have understood the emotional picture of it. So he tries to understand what is going on and grab onto this wheel. Sacrifice receiving the smell on my hands. So what does his hands smell like? Blood, love, or gunpowder? Just that word.
all the signs are passing. Grip the wheel. He could just be driving really fast at that point,
Oh, the car.
right? I mean, for me, the signs weren't road signs ever. In my for when it resonated with my life, it was like I'm asking for a sign.
Yes, show me the
It's
sign.
one of those signs, and those ones were the ones passing that he couldn't read.
Mm-hmm.
And sacrifice receiving never registered as comprehensible words in my head, so
And
it was
what's
just
now? Oh.
now it's like once I saw these lyrics, it was like, yeah, he's totally murdered somebody, and so it's the smell of blood and death on his
Yeah,
hands as he's driving away at this point.
sacrifice. Oh, that's the word sacrifice. I mapped the smell on his hand. Sin still plays and preaches, but to have an empty court. I think he did something um, which he considers to be a sin. I don't know if it's a murder, like he might have done. He might have done something else, and his hand still smells of it. And then he's I don't know, I have a little bit milder projection onto it than murder.
Yeah, but the smell might be worse.
Why?
Anyway,
I don't know. I think smell of death is worse than smell of love.
oh, love is what you were thinking. Okay, I thought.
Yes.
Never mind. Never mind.
Oh, sorry. Like I have my cooker of projection is different.
Very much, man. Mm. And I listen for the voice inside my head. Nothing. I'll do this one myself. That's like probably the most resonant. Well, no, the actual chorus lands harder, but like the fact that like you pray for signs and nothing. Like there's no mystery. God doesn't talk to you. Like sometimes the voices in your head won't talk to you. And it's it's very it's I'm sure the voice in your head usually talks to you. So but you have a voice in your head that talks to you?
Yeah, all the time. Can't shut up.
What if it wouldn't? What if it got so mad at you it wouldn't talk to you anymore?
I would listen to music.
Like this song.
I was listening to the when my voice was too loud. I mean, I wanted it to shut up. So there was this song which I kept playing over and over again, like for 20 times to shut up my voice. It was Animal I Have Become. That song over and over. It was dark times. Yeah.
So
But
if you turn your that makes sense. Because like all of our processing hootenanny
mhm.
is way up in the front of our brain, and like the further back you go, the more animal. And if you shoved yourself back into animal mode, then you wouldn't hear the voice in your head.
Yeah, that's
What
what
a
I was
con-
doing. Nothing. I'll do this one myself.
state of love and trust. I think the chorus comes back in here. And like I know for the line by not line analysis, we don't go back into the choruses very often, but it's just that the reason I think this song came back is because state of love and trust is like an emotional state. And it's also an orientation, like a way you can approach the world. Um and so like generally this song would come back around right after a breakup because it'd be like even if it was just during a fight and they were having some problem with the relationship, it's like if this relationship was a state of love and trust, then we wouldn't be having this issue. And then it lands again with the I'll do this one myself. So it's like things are falling apart and you get the reassurance of your own self-sufficiency while jamming out about a murder song, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's get to
He's
the sacrifice part, right?
okay.
Lay her down as priest does. And like as far as I know, the only priests that are laying people down is the ones that are doing it for a sacrifice. Like I'm hey, that priest is laying that lady down. It's either putting her in the grave or putting her on the altar before they put her in the grave. I,
Hashtag Fleabag.
Should the Lord be accountant? Will be in my honor. Make it painfully quick. Yeah. Um, are you okay? I mean, you have a
Yes.
beautiful laugh. The least you can do is unmute it.
I mean, uh, okay. I like just, I don't see it as a sacrificial thing though. Like, still, to me, the guy is driving away from a scene of a crime that he committed in a motel. And it was like, it's not an actual crime, it's just a scene. And he tries to contextualize it because he should not have done it. And he is trying to, am I a sinner? And then he remembers, what if it's like, she's this holy person and I'm like the priest, should the Lord be part of it? But it's a sin that you did. And then he will be like, if the Lord is part of it, the third one, like, I guess it will be in my honor. I mean, no disrespect.
What do you think he's making painfully quick? And where do you think the pain's coming from if it's not a murder?
For his heart.
It's hard.
Yes.
Like the horrible thing he's doing, that's not a murder.
I mean,
Since he's involving the Lord, he's just gonna get it over with. And it's painful to him because he would really like, what I'm doing to you, lady, I would like for it to, it's not murder, but I would like for it to take 5 days. But since I don't get 5 days to do it, it's going to really hurt me that I don't get, but I'll make it quick for you, even though it's not murder.
okay, you convinced me. I think he's driving her body in a trunk, and he's like, I will do this one myself. Is there anyone there who will dig the grave? Damn it, I have to do it all myself.
Here we come up to the one that I understood the whole time, which which promises are whispered in the age of darkness. Want to be enlightened like I want to be told the end. I mean, I always understood all of those words the whole time. It was fabulous. And it reassured me that I was in an age of darkness. And yeah, the want to be enlightened like I want to be told the end part. That's, I mean, if you're blindly pursuing enlightenment, that's really something to think about. It's like, okay, do you want to know the end if you still have to live through it either way? Maybe not. Maybe not. So, you
Right.
get anything for that verse?
I think the guy is battling himself here. And he's like, what am I pursuing here? I want a big thing. I wanted the things that are promised in the darkness. And he remembers, I think he's playing in his head back to whatever happened. All those whispers come in and he keeps listening to those in his head. I want to be enlightened. Like, I want to be told the end.
Do you think he does want it?
No, I think he doesn't want it. He wants the whatever was promised in the darkness. And those are not the promises of enlightenment. That's how I see it. So he likes whatever was whispered to him as a secret, and which was the opposite of the enlightenment. It was the sin. I again think the entire projection is him battling sinful thoughts. I mean, he actually done something bad, like
He had to
whatever he
have,
conceived.
otherwise his hands would smell good.
Oh,
He had to have done something.
Mhm.
And the barrel shakes, aimed directly at my head. Oh, help me from myself. And I listen from both sides of a friend. Which, really? Really? Nothing. I'll do this one myself. Um, again, the myself part came in for the relationships. Hold on, I have to play the version that's in my head for a second. For me, it's the barrel sets in, whatever the hell that means. It's still directly at my head, but it's not both sides of a friend. I think it's both both sides of my head is what it is for me. Like my right angel or my left angel was always what came to mind. And this one though, this this I'll do this one myself lands more like well, in the context of it's a murder thing, then it's like I've been doing it because the voices told me, but this time, um, but for the way it resonated with me is just like even though I get no help from voices in my head, this is what I'm gonna do. Um, I'll be fine. I'll do it myself. I'll be fine.
Hmm. I'll be fine in a nihilistic sense of way, like because there is always that option. I think both sides of a friend, I see it as a friend showed both sides of him, good and the bad one, and he listened to each of them. One side of his friend would be the one who supports state of love and trust, and the other side is the one that forced him to do something wrong, and now he has to battle thoughts of mortality. Help me from myself. I think he got manipulated by a friend, maybe here, and he's trying to understand which version is correct.
The help me from myself line lands because like a lot of the times you're torturing yourself. And you when you call out and get no voices back, it's because it's you that's tearing you apart. And so that's part of it I wanted to throw in.
It's an interesting contrast between help me from myself. I do this one myself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's reaching out for those voices and also both sides of the friend, which confused him. Because like I think that listening both sides of his friend got him into that spin, let's say. Yeah. He can't help himself from himself. That's why he's giving in and I will do this one myself. And it's probably the wrong thing or whatever he doesn't want to do. That's what I think.
Hmm. So this next verse says, "Hey, hey, that's something. Wanna back it away?" Yeah, that's pretty much all gibberish when I listen to music. It's like, "Hey, na 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 na, hey, that's something. Hey, na na na, hey, that's something." I just hear that twice in that part. I don't know. I think it's just musical filler. I don't really get anything out of those particular lyrics.
I like wanna back it away. Wanna back it away. He doesn't want it. And also wanna back it away might be the barrel aimed at his head somehow. Also, is he aiming it though? Somebody else might be.
Yeah, but in the previous one, it sounded like somebody else was aiming it as him, or it was him facing down suicide. Right? It's aimed at his head and it's shaking because he's like, help me from myself or I'll kill myself.
Okay.
That was also how it lands sometimes when you listen to it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, this last verse, and I listen, yeah, for the voice inside my head. Nothing. I'll do this one myself. Oh, and the barrel waits, trigger shakes, aimed right at my head. Won't you help me? Help me from myself. Interestingly, up until the time I was shown these lyrics, this one always landed with like trigger shakes was Jesus saves, like, entirely in my life up until this point. So it's like, and I listen for the voice inside my head. There's nothing. I'll do this one myself. And then it's like, it wasn't, oh wow, the barrel waits on, let me hear it in my head. This was just the barrel waits was just gibberish. And then it was like Jesus saves aimed right at my head. Won't you help me from myself? And that one for me is like I grew up in this world where everybody's always saying Jesus saves. And when I call out, I hear nothing in my head. And so you're on your own. And it's almost, I don't know if it's like, I mean, clearly what it is now is fighting with the suicidal thing. But for me, it was more him fighting with either, well, it depends on like why I was listening to the song, of course. But like he was about to do something bad. And with Jesus saves aimed right at his head, he was like, that's what he ended up having to do the bad thing himself because the voice didn't stop him. He wanted help from what he was about to do. I don't know. I'm usually getting ready to play the song again by the time it's at this part. So.
Lack of agency. It's that thing that I thought of the musicians. They go on stage and they become these antennas for people. They take in all the energy and they kind of sing and they pick up on the room and they give it back. They kind of like mix it all together and give it back. And the ability to go into those states when you are alone and there is nobody to connect to, you don't have it, you don't have any energy, then you feel kind of empty in a sense, and you're like, somebody take over and do the things. This song actually does line up with the analysis we did on enlightenment 55, which is totally not available, and love reign over me. It's you talked about this desire that something takes over you and making things happen as opposed to actually doing it yourself. And here it's the same, like I kind of see the same sentiment, which I attribute to creative people and musicians a lot. It's like this muse has to take over. And in here is the suicidal thoughts. Jesus, like that muse, has to take over and stop him and make him feel better. And it's kind of the reason why a lot of musicians are prone to alcohol and other things. It's the outside source that takes over, let's say, and makes you do things.
Or pushes you away and comes through you.
I mean,
If
is
you
it?
get out of the way, because you're an instrument,
Mhm.
if you get your ego out of the way, then the muse can come through you. And like, if you can't get your ego out of the way, help me from myself, then the muse can't come and you have to do it yourself. And it's probably crap.
Well, hold on. No, not that. The agency part, if you get out the muse out of the way, not the muse, but the ego part, uh, it's not necessarily the good things that come through. It's whoever you are connecting to. And in one case, if it's love reigns over him, but like when he gets himself into a vessel state, a shit ton of other stuff just entering it, because he might have this pollution inside him already. Like he only attracts the lower kind of type of muse, which is not the highest form. I would say not this kind of Jesus-like energy. It's that idea of a vessel is good, right? But like it, to an unprepared person or psychologically unprepared, it's very dangerous. Like a lot of musicians don't end up well. Let's say they don't end up being happy and feeling accomplished. Most of them.
You're saying they don't end up existing in the state of love and trust.
I don't think I have numbers on it. And also, I only hear the bad stories. Perhaps there are good stories, but they are not told often enough. I know that there are some states where I'm on stage and I feel really good afterwards, but there are some other states where I go on stage and feel really bad afterwards, as if I was just run over by a pack of wolves or something.
Well, it depends on the audience.
It depends on the audience and the mood in the room, and also the song itself. The song itself, the words you speak, is actually like that message that you are cultivating, growing. You say those words to people, you put in those words in people's head, and if you say like really horrible things, you get backfired it onto you somehow, like you're burning out inside. Yeah, so this vessel thing, when he's in a state of darkness, the voice that comes in is not the lightest. It's never listen to advice from the voice inside your head when you're really depressed. You know, there was this Baptist animations secret book, I think it was called, when I was a child. It was like little kids and the robot would open up a Bible and travel into Bible stories. It was animation.
Wow.
It was animation back in my day when I was growing up.
I know, but robots going into Bible stories is fascinating. I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
two children, boy and a girl, and a robot. They travel. through Bible verses, let's say. And I remember there was this scene when they traveled back into Cain and Abel thing. And as Cain was murdering his brother, God was talking to him, like, stop, like, I'm talking on to you, please stop what you're doing, do not kill your brother. So there was this clear light lighting him up, and God was talking to him. He was not able to hear it, and the children were like witnessing all of that. Fascinating. Yeah, fascinating. I think it was called Superbook, that series. Shout out to everybody who's seen it as well. And this is it. When you are in a state of this kind of horrible state, you do not, light thoughts have no chance of entering. You're like in a cloud that light cannot pierce through. And the ego or agency is irrelevant at that point. It's not that. You're taken over by something else, not you, other people. So that's what
Hey, no, 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 hey, that's something. Hey, no, 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 hey, that, I don't know.
yeah. So what do you think about that? Like,
I think you're on point with the, if you, if something, if there's a passion that takes control of the vessel, then you have lost your agency and you need help from yourself because you've put yourself in a position where you've busted down the pretext and passions have taken over. I don't know. I think the song is worse now. I don't know. I mean, it used to mean like I didn't ever look at the lyrics before. So now it's more about murdering some lady than it was for my whole life until now. But I think I can push the new definitions aside and still enjoy the tune for its old resonances.
no, it's an interesting choice for double infinity 88 number, but I'll allow it.
The state of love and trust is busted down to pretext. Sin still plays and preaches just to have an empty court, but he, I think it's always like you want a double infinity. It's the state of love and trust is something I will probably seek for infinity. So there's that at least.
Isn't state is like appraisal, like the how to say it? Uh, it's not naming it; it's observing it. When you say state of love and trust, it's like a question: what state are those in?
Not for me. It's like when somebody's manic, they're in a state of mania. If somebody's depressed, they're in a state of depression. If somebody's full of love and trust, then that's their state, their condition.
That's excellent. So double infinity of love and trust. That's how it goes.
I'll take it.
Thank you for having free time. People, please check out Grizwald Grim YouTube channel and also get into his Discord, support him on Patreon. I will provide all the links below. And bye.
What would be really cool, I think, maybe, is if you put the part from 55 you talked about. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe
You look so different in there. It's also, you know where it is? In the cellar. Like not in the cellar, but in the other room. It's still recorded
you
from that
buried it.
laptop.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I didn't bury it. No, it's in a special folder. Like for there's a special folder called other.
A special folder called buried.
Archived.
Archived.